ho, ho. Welcome back to the Amazing Survivors podcast with
Tron and
Tremaine.
So,
What are we talking about today, Tron?
Well, we are now breaking down Survivor Season 46, Episode 11, which was quite the episode for those of you that watched it.
Well, if we ever get on the Amazing Race, you could be my messy little friend. Oh, well, yeah, this was... I really enjoyed this episode.
This was there's a lot going on in
A
this
ton
episode.
going on, but I almost feel like they should name this season The Curse of the Idol.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The Curse of the Idol. Yeah, so anyways,
Let's jump
to
right
jump,
in. Jump
lots to
in.
talk about. Let's just jump right in. So it just picks up where the other one left off. They're back from tribal.
Yeah.
Kenzie's kind of crying because she feels on the outs because she didn't even know. She was left out of the vote. And so she was just...
Her and Venus. Left
Her and
out.
Venus, and she was just kind of like losing her mind. And I thought this was very smart gameplay for Charlie right here. He kind of goes and consoles her and is like, hey, like, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I feel like in this instance, this is like a mirror image of Maria consoling Q and reaching out.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're not... Yes, you feel like you're on the bottom right now and you feel really dumb because you were left out of the vote and you want to be included and you weren't included in the popular club.
Mm-hmm.
But the better players, they reach out to those that are on the bottom like, hey, listen, we can still work together.
Yeah.
This is not the end of your game. We can still go forward together.
For sure.
So Maria's done a really good job with Q on that. Charlie's doing that now with Kenzie, which is
with Kenzie for sure. And
smart.
and because he's a smart player, he sees that really his only other competition is Maria.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we're tight, but there's gonna come a point where we gotta flip on each other, and I need the numbers to flip her.
Yeah, so. I need people to work with me. She already has Q in her pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ben stands between those two. He's kind of like
I just like forget that he's even on the episode and he's still here. What has he done? He hasn't.
The only reason I remember Liz is on there is just she gives us so many good one-liners. But Charlie knows it's not his move that made things. Maria pushed that.
I think he's got a strong game though right now. Like honestly, even if he gets to the end with Maria, like I think he's got a stronger game than her because some of these moves have been her ideas, but he's been like right there with her and helped probably just as much as she has in these moves, and he's won immunity like quite a bit. So
yeah, like he's won twice. He's always been there at the end for the most part. But even
likes him.
Everyone likes him. But I do feel like even he came to her and was like, hey, that was a really good move. Yeah. You know? And Maria's kind of just taking it all in.
This is when players, this is when players struggle. Is like they make a big move and they let it go to their heads. Yeah. And like you got to keep your mind straight. But.
Well, this is why I wish I could have seen more. There's a past season when Gabler won. Yeah. Because he said he would surface, make the move, and then go back and go under the radar, and people would forget about him. Yeah. And I feel like that's what really, really strong players are like. Yes, I made that move, but I'm not going to stay in the spotlight. I'm going to go under and make it so they forget about me. Yeah. And they're still wanting to target other people.
That's what you need to do. And I think Charlie's playing that really well right now because he is kind of making moves. He's winning, but no one's really ever brought his name up.
Yeah.
So he's doing pretty good with that.
And he's keeping the tension off him even though he's winning. Yeah. And so Maria's like, put that spotlight on her, put it on Q.
Yeah, put it anywhere but
me. And he's doing great with that.
Yeah. So they're all sitting around, they wake up.
Early the next morning.
Idol fever.
I love it, dude.
Idol fever. So they're like, well, Tiff's out. Let's go find this idol. And some players need it more than others. And so everyone's cruising around. Everyone's like, we don't want Venus to get it. We don't want Q to get it. And so they're like trying to find it, going everywhere, and lo and behold, Venus ends up finding it.
Which is hilarious.
It is. I loved it.
And I'm so happy she found it, because I was like, Venus is definitely the type of player who's going to get greedy and just like everyone, go home with it in her pocket.
Right.
But I was just so happy she found it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, she could have so much fun with this.
Yeah, and she did a really good job like hiding it, right?
Yeah.
Like she was super excited to get it, but then she just kind of like just was herself. Just kind of was like poking around bushes and like trying to find it.
In a way, she's just kind of like the tag along with Kenzie.
Yeah.
And Kenzie's just like, oh my gosh, this is how you're going to find an idol?
I think she fooled everyone on that. I don't...
Yeah. Until she did.
At this point, when she first found it,
and I love that she's like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're alone and you find an idol, don't tell anybody.
No, why would you? I don't.
I was surprised, like, because I guess this is Tiffany's idol. She had already done everything to make the idol in full effect.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, doesn't she have to do some challenge? But
yeah.
I think in this series of game, they're like, man, that might be too much. Yeah. And that's too big of a beware advantage or an effect.
Right.
So it puts them at a huge disadvantage if they did.
For sure.
And so
then we just see everyone talking strategy. Charlie wants to weaken Maria and get Q out. Liz is talking to Kenzie that Maria's the kingpin. Q and Maria are targets. It was just like all this stuff. Everyone's just kind of talking game, but the consistent thing is like Maria's strong. Everyone thinks Q's her like ride or die, which I don't really know why they're not like, no, Charlie's her ride or die. It's just, and so Charlie's eating that up. He's like, oh yeah, Q for sure.
Q is definitely the number one now.
Yeah.
But it does show he's talking to Venus, Kenzie, and Liz, and Charlie recognizes he wasn't the cruise director of the last vote. That was all Maria's doing.
He's kind of throwing it out there.
And in that position, you just got to go along with him. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Doesn't mean I'm going to vote with you. Yeah. But right now, I'm going to agree with you. But it's so funny because Venus is so sure that she can pull a fourth person in with these three girls. And I'm sorry, Venus, but I think you're overconfident in your social game, and you're not very self-aware of your social game. Yeah. Because I would love to get the backstory from all the other players. Like, no, Venus would never win.
Yeah, her social game is terrible.
Yeah, she talks at people.
That she is running everything, and she is not at all.
Which is hilarious later on.
Yeah. So I also have here that when they're all talking, Kenzie said to Charlie and Venus that if either Maria or Q go to the end, either could win. And I don't know if that's her being like strategic saying that, or if she actually believes that. Because I'm like, no, if Q goes to the end, he's not winning. But
well, I was thinking about this.
Unless it's against Liz and Ben, or like what?
I know, because like Q's strategy now is like, well, my strategy was to blow up my own game. Yeah. Get the target off me, and have you guys vote for me, but you didn't, and now I just become kind of like the scapegoat, and I rode that horse all the way to the end. Give me the $1 million. So I guess I think we talked about this last time. If Q went to the end with Venus and Liz, I think he's got a good shot of winning.
I think he does too there. The problem that I have with Survivor these days is that it's not necessarily the best person wins. It's like who people like more.
It's a popularity contest. Yeah. It's like, who did you screw over the least?
Yeah. And Q screwed too many people over.
Basically everybody.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. Anyways. So then, unless you have anything else, we go to the immunity challenge.
Go there.
And I love it. Still digging at Jelinski. We're down to the final several. Love it. Oh man, he will go down in history.
Do you think he's going to make it on season 50?
He's got it, dude. He was the worst player in the history of the game.
He's so bad. But yet he has so many references throughout this season.
So many.
And it's just like, really?
Yeah.
God.
Yep, for sure.
Interesting.
All right, so here's the immunity challenge.
Take it away.
we got this little ball. You have a stick. You got to balance it on, go over like these balance beams and stuff like that. Once you get through that, then you have to, there's like a snake puzzle with like obstacles. You put the ball on this thing and you like
make your way down.
Make your way through. Just in my head, off the bat, I was like, Kenzie's going to suck so bad at this. Because everyone with like a ball, like she's been so bad. But she did so good at the balance. Through. Man, it was unreal.
It was so funny how Venus, her ball falls off just before she crosses the line. It's just like, oof, that's rough. Yeah. And Ben, man, he's just terrible.
It's just like terrible. I legitimately forget he's playing sometimes.
Other than his one musical reference.
Right, every time.
So, yeah, like Charlie gets through it first, and then Kenzie with Maria third, Liz, Q, Venus, Ben. But it was interesting to see that snake puzzle because it looked like, yes, they have these little, I almost want to say not divots, but like little things, and they seem to have to circle around them, kind of like slalom skiing.
Yeah, and then also they did have divots. Like there were some that were like on the snake that came in, and so you had to move your little, I don't even know what to call that, little paddle like in between them, and there were like bumps and stuff like that, and so you had to be pretty like strategic on that, and then you had to dump a ball halfway through into a little net, and then get another one, and then go all the way through, and then dump it into another net at the end. And man, Venus did great.
Oh man, she was crushing it. Steady Eddie.
She was crushing it. She had three times at the very end to win it. Fell off twice, and then the third time when she's trying to get it in the net, it just rims out.
Which is just unreal. Like, yeah, you lost the game right there.
Right there, 100%. Well, yeah.
Pretty much, you lost the game right there because, it was neck and neck between her and Maria several times. And Maria just took her time at the end there and put the ball in the net. But I really want to know how long that puzzle part took. It took like it looked like it took a while.
Yeah, it would be hard.
Probably a good 20, 30 minutes, it seemed like. Because just to get the right touch at the beginning, like, okay, I get the feel of this as I'm moving along. But man, it was exciting though. Yeah. It was super exciting.
So in addition to immunity, they're playing for a pizza reward as well.
Pizza at the sanctuary.
So Maria wins, and here we go. So I want to know how you felt about how she chose, what she said, everything. So she basically got up there. Man, she was just so dumb about it. I feel like she chose Ben right off the bat.
Yeah,
it was just like, okay, Ben, you're coming. Which I'm like, I don't know why you chose Ben. And then second, she's like, Charlie takes himself out. So does Kenzie.
Yep.
And so it's between Liz, Q, and Venus. And she's basically like, I want someone to come that hasn't eaten, is weak, and blah blah blah. And then she's like, plead your case as to why you want to come. And then finally comes down to, okay, it's between Q and Liz. Rock, paper, scissors for it. So I don't know where you want to start because it was just horrible.
Here's the first thing. Yes, it sucks that you have to choose and leave certain people out.
Yeah.
But I think she totally overthought this, and she did not play a winner's game in this particular way. Part of winning is accepting the responsibility that, yes, there's going to be pissed off people at me, but it's all about damage control.
Yeah.
And so if you really want to take the people and stand by your word, take the people who are starving and weak, you have to take Liz and Ben. And if people are pissed, it is what it is.
At least you have a reason and you were true to it.
Exactly.
You did what you said.
Here's the other part that I think she really screwed up. Don't have people plead their case. This is not final tribal.
No.
2, rock, paper, scissors. Terrible.
So dumb.
That's like you trying to give yourself an escape.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have to own You won.
100%.
You are not going home. Q just ate.
Right.
And yes, he did take you. But here's the thing. Q, you know he's in your back pocket. Charlie's your other number one.
Yeah. 100%.
So you have to leave those two there.
Yeah.
Because yes, the girls they're probably going to be a little bitter. But Q and Charlie are still on your team, and they can just like play along with the game, like yes, yes, yes. But you're gonna get all that information back when you come back.
Yeah.
And then you can build bonds. Like you've already built bonds with Liz to get her to vote Q or to not vote Q.
Yeah.
And to go with the voting the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
And with Tiff, and then you can also continue to build up Ben. Like it looked like he needed some nourishment as well.
Yeah.
And so she totally botched this. It was so
totally
bad.
It
so
made,
bad.
Honestly, I've liked her up until then, and that made me just can't stand it. I was like, what are you doing? And even Jeff called her out, like, this is the longest anyone's ever taken at choosing a reward. Like,
you know what would have been better? It would have been better for her to go, you know what, Jeff? At this time, I don't want anyone to come.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be pissed at me anyway. I just want a little R&R by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to choose anyone to come.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Literally anything would have been better than what she did, because it was just so stupid. And where she really screwed up was saying, I want the people to come that haven't eaten, that need nourishment, and then chooses Q.
Yeah.
Like, unreal. And this came up in tribal council too, and Venus, like, good on Venus. She called her out. And I was so pissed, and I mean, we can get to it later, but I was like, I was so pissed because Maria was like, basically said, like, I didn't want to choose, I didn't want to have to choose, so I did rock, paper, scissors. And then Venus was like going at her, and she's like, you don't understand how hard of a choice this was for me. I'm like, you literally just said you didn't want to choose.
Yeah. Like she did not do any favors for it. Like Liz saying she hasn't pooped in 3 weeks. She'd like to get something going there, which is hilarious. But you so have much. Like, personally, I thought this was such an easy choice. It's like, Q just ate.
Yeah.
Take Liz, take Ben. You're gonna get in their good graces. Yeah. They're going to be thankful that they're eating, and Liz can eat this stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he specifically said there's gluten-free pizza. Honestly,
like I'm getting annoyed.
If it was me, I probably would have taken Venus and Liz, just to build like a little more bond with Venus, because I feel like Ben's kind of in her pocket already from the Sega days.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but she just played so
I could see why Maria wouldn't want to take Venus, because as Q references later, you say a name, Venus is running to everybody to get that name out there, which is once again a downfall for Venus.
The other thing that really bothered me is Liz. So like, obviously last week she had this screaming fit and was so mad at Q, and on this one she's like mad at Maria, but like not really.
She's almost more mad at Q.
She's more mad at Q. Yeah. And I love that little cutscene when they're interviewing Q, and he's like, I just ate, but
I had 23 slices.
Yeah. And then he just starts laughing. I'm like, I know. And
I'm not in charge of choosing.
And this was bothering me about Liz so much, is that she was so mad at Q. Maria did the exact same thing to her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like mad at Q again for going on the pizza thing.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Dude.
It's also interesting to me. I would love to see more at camp in the inner camp dynamics with Liz, because obviously she is rubbing people the wrong way for them not wanting her to come on these things, because she's just got to be annoying the heck out of people. And so that kind of transitions to the pizza losers going back. So you got Charlie, Venus, Kenzie, and Liz having a pity party, and it is so. It's just like, hey, we gotta get Q out.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get Maria out. We gotta get Q out.
Everyone's
and they just pile on.
Q, and
pile on.
Liz is like, that guy is an a-hole.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Oh my gosh.
And then on the flip side, the people on the reward are all about getting Venus out,
which is so funny.
Yeah.
And I love it's funny that multiple people have mentioned that she just brings bad vibes and chaos. And yeah, when you're trying to play a good game, you need a little bit of chaos, but you have to be able to control the chaos.
Yeah.
And Venus is that wild card where you're not going to be able to control her. She's going to blow people's
game just like
up.
They said, like, she'll just go tell everyone anything. So, like, you got to keep her out of stuff.
Exactly.
Which is, like, I was strongly on board of just keeping Venus because anyone can beat her at the end. But it's getting to the point where it is a liability where you can't tell her stuff. And so it's like, it's kind of hard to have her there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they come back from the reward and Liz just starts going off. And she doesn't care. She's done. She's suppressed.
Yeah.
She doesn't care if Q's there. She's going to speak her mind. And this is where her allergies, she thinks, have come from.
Because she's suppressing all her feelings and her body is fighting back.
Yeah. I've never heard that before, but I mean, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel.
But see, and this is where I still just have a problem with it. Like, yeah, she clearly hates Q, but like, be mad at Maria.
Yeah, it wasn't like, Q's fault.
Q did nothing on this one except beat you at rock, paper, scissors, which was a stupid thing. And like, I think it felt to me like she was more mad that he didn't just step out and let her go than Maria doing her dumb decision. It bothered me so much.
Well, it's funny because just after Liz is talking about suppressing her feelings and whatnot, it shows a little cutscene of Liz and Maria coming together and talking. Yeah. And it's funny because Venus is in the background and Liz is like, yeah, I don't believe anything Venus says. Yeah. So obviously Liz doesn't get along with it all that well.
Yeah.
And she's been with her the whole time.
Yeah.
And so, oh man.
It is just like, it blows my mind so much. So Venus and Charlie kind of talk at this point too. And I'm just like, dude, she is so clueless. She has this air about her. Venus is just like walking around thinking she's the mastermind and like she is so ahead of everyone else's games. And I'm like, dude, like your social game is abysmal. Your social game sucks so much. And I don't know if you just can't pick up on these like things, but like,
I don't think she can because she's so focused on getting her agenda and pushing her way.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because as she is talking to Charlie, she's like, I'm going to have a few tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
Once again, this is terrible gameplay because you don't want anyone to suspect any advantage, any idol, if you're going to play it that way.
100%.
And sorry, you blew the immunity challenge, and now you're blowing up your own game. And
I don't know, but I got the feeling that if she didn't do that, I think Q would have been the vote. Because a lot of people were for Q, Charlie was, and then Venus was just like, oh, don't worry about it. I've got things in the works. I've got this. And he's like, man, that makes me feel like she's got some advantage or something. And
well, the problem is she's like, I'll tell you after this vote.
Yeah.
And in Survivor, that does not fly.
No.
It's like, no, I give you information. You have to give me something to work with.
I can't just work off of like
a future possible.
Oh, I've got something. Trust me. Keep me around, and then I'll tell you. I'm like, no.
Put me in the loop.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some
trust. And then I'll weigh everything.
Yeah. But when you're like,
it so
on the
bad.
next one, that never works, because I feel like now in today's game it's like, no, I give you a little bit, you have to give me something, and we work together and we see where we can land together. As Charlie says, like, you have to be adaptable, and what else did he say? You have to be adaptable in working with people. Yes, you might not work with them this vote, but there's future votes if you're still around to work with people.
For sure.
But she doesn't get that.
No.
And
no, she doesn't.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure on this, but Ben wants her out so bad. It's like Liz hates Q and Ben hates Venus, and I'm not like 100% sure why he hates her so much. It hasn't really shown a ton.
No, but I could also see that like, Ben is a guy who tries and puts out positivity,
Positivity and very authentic.
And I could see Venus being one putting out negative energy. And so I could see that colliding.
Yeah.
And that not going well.
Oh, he does not like her.
What about this? Like, I thought about this. Yeah, I would try and push this. Okay. People want Q and people want Venus. Venus just told me that she has something up her sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I would try and go, okay, we're going to go 3 votes on Venus, 2 votes on Kenzie because she was out of the last vote, and then and Venus and Kenzie are going to vote Q. So you got 3-2-2. So even if she plays an idol, you can still get who you want out to move forward in the game. Because once we see the votes and who voted for who, it's just like, what?
Yeah, we'll get there, but I'm so confused.
I am
so
dumbfounded.
Okay, so let's get into tribal then.
Yeah.
Jeff is great. Jeff brings Twizzlers this time, or some red vines.
His personal stash.
His personal stash, and he's like, I'm not going to give these all out to you, so he gives him 1.
It's just like wetting the palate.
Has his cushion again, sits on his cushion.
Which makes me wonder, these tribals must be going forever.
I think they are, because like everyone's getting into it.
Like I've heard tribal goes, for a couple hours usually. And so we get a whole 5 to 10 minutes of 2 hours or more.
Yeah.
And if I was Jeff, he's getting old anyway. Like you might as well bring up the recliner, brother.
I know, man.
So yeah, right off the top,
Venus and Maria
going at
shots fired, and like this is where I 100% side with Venus on this. I'm like, yeah, Maria was being really dumb.
She was, and I like how Venus is not afraid to call people out. It's funny that Q jumps in, and they kind of start talking about like who knows what. And he's like, well, you were left out of the last vote. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, but you were left out of the last 3. And Venus, once again, the present matters. Yeah. It's not the past. It's the present.
And this is where he gets into it with her and tells her that like no one can tell her anything because she'll just go run her mouth. Yeah. And so her and Q get into it for a while about this stuff, and Q's like, whatever, like I don't care. I'm just here.
I would love if tribal, if somehow down the road you could watch the whole thing live.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I don't care if you do like extra credit or put it on your website, whatever. People would suck that up so hard.
100%.
So hard.
100%.
But and then.
And like Ben kind of jumps in too, didn't he?
A little bit.
I feel like he got a little upset at Venus,
and it's pretty obvious like they don't really like each other. Like I don't know how. I'm sure production puts them where they want them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But it's obvious like Ben and her don't jive at all.
No.
And then he also talks to Liz.
Yeah.
And like she's just bad. She's so bad. And she's the perfect person to take to the end.
Oh, she is 100% the perfect person.
And I'm sure other players are like, I gotta keep her in and I gotta keep her around because no one's voting for you. Yeah. You're terrible at this game. Just terrible.
So bad. So bad.
Oh.
If I'm Maria and Charlie, I'm like, this is fantastic. Everyone sucks. Everyone's going at it. And I'm just in my head like, how do I get the other one? How do I get Charlie out? How do I get Maria out?
Charlie's like in the middle and he's like, yeah, it's a safe place, but it's kind of dangerous as well. It's like that double-edged sword. But they're sitting pretty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Jeff pointedly asked him a question, and he just gave a very good political response that didn't give too much away, but
was satisfactory to Jeff. Yeah. And also Jeff mentions that, are you guys worried about someone playing Shot in the Dark? I totally forgot about Shot in the Dark.
I did too, and this was the last
one you can do it. And so I totally forgot about that. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about it. Everyone has that advantage. Yeah, But I don't know.
That's a question I have because I don't know that rule too well. So everyone's got this Shot in the Dark. Mm-hmm. This is the last tribal that can play it. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you just play it? Can they not? Or
well, the problem with the Shot in the Dark is you play it, you lose your vote.
Right.
And so if you feel like you're going home, you might as well play it.
That's right.
Like Venus, like yes, she wants to get someone out, but if you feel like you have the numbers, and that's the tricky part, you got 4-3 possibly. So if you play your shot in the dark, thinking you're gonna go home, and you bring yours down to 3-3, you got a tie, and you're not safe.
I forgot that you lose your vote when you do that. So okay,
it hasn't played a huge factor in this season, but
so voting time.
Jeff it comes down.
Calculates the votes. We get one for Q, one for Venus, and then one for Kenzie, which I was like, where did that come from? And then pretty much all the rest are for Venus.
Yep.
And she goes home with an idol in her pocket, which I swear this season has to be a record for how many people go home with an idol. 4 straight.
Or no, Hunter, Tiffany, Venus.
Did Tevin?
Tevin didn't have one.
Tevin didn't have one?
No.
Okay.
But still.
Crazy though. Like what are you doing? They're just getting like too complacent, too like greedy, like thinking, oh, I want to keep this idol later on.
The worst one was definitely Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Like with all that chaos going, he had to play it.
He had to.
Venus, she thought she was running things, so she felt safe. But it is what it is. It's the idol curse.
It is the idol curse.
I love seeing it.
So here's something that I actually just heard today. I think one of my friends was telling me about this. Maybe she was watching a podcast or something. She was saying that it was Whitney who's been on this before.
She'll be coming on here real soon for the finale.
Yeah. So wherever they go, what's the name of it where they go after they're voted out? Ponderosa. So she's saying that at Ponderosa, like Tiff was saying that when she got blindsided, went to Ponderosa, like everyone was there. They had like a big kind of welcome party, a bunch of food and everything for her. And that she's like, that took the steam off of this quite a bit. And then she was saying that when Venus went there, like no one was even around. And that like Venus said that was harder for her than getting like being on the island or anything like that, which I could totally see. So
man, that is
she has done something to just upset everybody.
Wow. Oh man, that is rough.
Right? And I'm like, man, I don't know what she's doing. She doesn't seem like that bad of a person on like she seems like a terrible game player, but like
I can see her being one of those people that they're just gonna rub you the wrong way because it's like her way or the highway kind of thing. For sure. But that's rough.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, like I know it seemed like Soda didn't like it all that much.
Yeah.
Tevin was annoyed with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Hunter was
not too happy.
Probably not because he's with Tevin.
Yeah.
But
it'd just be hard, man. That's like
that's a real gut punch.
Right. All right.
Okay. So wait, the voting.
The votes.
I do not. So Ben votes Kenzie.
Yeah.
And
it had to have been a strategic thing somehow. I can't figure it out. And I wish that they included this discussion that led to him voting Kenzie.
Yeah. Because unfortunately I feel like you, in a way that you show your cards.
Yeah.
Yes, I know everyone's voting Venus, but Venus is going to vote Q, and you throw Kenzie there in case it goes to a tie. You can get one of those two out. But for Kenzie, like this has got to be a wake up call. Like, oh my gosh, I'm still on the bottom this group,
right?
And I'm probably next to go home because they're not going to take out Liz. They're not going to. I know Charlie says he wants Q out and Liz wants Q out.
Right.
And I'm sure they can get Kenzie on board to get Q out. Are you going to be able to swing Ben over? I mean, there's a good chance.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
In a way, I feel like they kind of showed their hand a little bit. The Sieg of 3, if that's the way they really want to go.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it was an interesting thing. Our other interesting thing was how adamant Liz was for voting for Q, and they got her to switch to Venus. Again. So she is not playing her game. She's just going with whoever's telling her what to do. And
And so I don't know. It's interesting.
The next week, the little teaser. I was gonna ask you about this. It shows Maria like crying and just saying like a part of me died today or whatever. Like, what do you think that's about?
It's got to be with, I assume, Charlie.
That's what I would assume too.
Just because they've been tight for so long, and she probably thinks that Charlie is her son in a way, and so I assume something happened there.
Yeah. Whether she needs to vote him out or if she gets wind of him trying to get her out, one of the two.
I mean, you have to look at things like that. Like you have to know. You might as well shoot your shot before you get shot. You have 100%. To go first. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
It also shows Q going back to chaos. And it's like, you just voted out the chaos. Why do you want to take her place? Like, do you really not want to win this game?
I don't know. I think he's like resigned that he does not have a chance. And so he's like literally like, no, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. And then it also shows Ben and Charlie talking, and Ben talking about the best blindside ever. And it's like, well, you just had 3 really good ones.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
Like, it's gonna be hard to blindside anyone because everyone's got to be on edge. Like, yeah, it could be me.
Yeah.
If I don't win, it could be me.
It could be me. So gotta play an idol if I have one.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
And I assume the idol's gonna be placed again.
I would imagine
because they can play up to 5.
We'll see if we get another week in a row of someone with an idol going home with it in their pocket.
That would be awesome.
It would be great.
I love that.
It would be good.
Freaking love that.
Okay, so who do you think's going home then?
Oh man, this is gonna be a tough one. Man, I don't really even know. Like, you know what? I'm gonna say, because they kind of showed their. I'm gonna say Kenzie.
Kenzie.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's still a little too soon for Maria or Charlie to take a shot at the other?
No, it's never too soon now. Like 7 is kind of like the tipping point. From there on, you have to gun for him.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be interesting to see. Okay. I feel like Charlie and Ben are tight. Q and Maria are tight. Can you sway Liz and Kenzie to your side? I feel like Charlie and Ben can, because Liz has been preaching that she wants to get Q out. Kenzie doesn't want to work with Q still. And the problem is, though, Maria, obviously, or somebody, has been convincing Liz to vote somebody else besides Q.
Yeah.
And so there's some persuasion there.
Which I wish they were just showing these conversations.
Yeah, because Liz, you have no game, obviously. Yeah. And you're just swaying with whatever vote.
And I thought Ben and Kenzie were super tight, but he voted for her, so I don't have a clue what's happening. It's so
other
weird.
Than, hey, we gotta vote someone else just in case. Yeah. And that's gotta be between him and Charlie, I would assume.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
who do you think's gonna go home? I'm gonna go Kenzie.
I think there's going to be some shots at the top 2 here. I think there's going to be a lot of strategy talked that way. I don't know what's going to happen, but it kind of depends on, it really hinges on who wins immunity here. Like, I don't know, man. My gut tells me either Maria or Kenzie. So I'm gonna hope for Maria. I hope she gets the boot.
That would be epic. Charlie would definitely be in the driver's seat 100%.
100%.
Because now he's got Ben and probably Kenzie to work with. And it's 5. Yeah. So you can knock out Q.
But then if he does it too, people are gonna be gunning for him. So if he keeps winning immunity, wins out, like he's in a good spot.
And no matter what, in a way, like Ben, Kenzie, and Liz, they could be the Misfit 3.
Yeah.
And totally win.
Totally.
Except, I mean, someone's going to have to win fire.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they are at that.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh.
Who knows? Maybe they flip Q on this one, and that's why Maria's so sad.
It could be.
I don't know. We'll see. Totally, but that is Survivor season 46, episode 11. So thanks for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Let us know who you think is going home the next one.
But I'm not gonna lie. I've really enjoyed this season thus far.
Yeah,
it's killing it.
100%.
I feel like it's really gotten better.
Yeah.
Like there's been a couple other past seasons where I'm like, oh my gosh.
And the first of this season too, there's Banu,
oh
like everything.
And Jelinski.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's gotten much better.
So much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, and yo ho ho. Till next week.